I'm Ursula Reutin.
From Sunday Mariners baseball to Seahawks football, this is KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
The Big Lead is brought to you by 3010 Weight Loss for Life.
The Dori Monson Show on KIRO Radio. This is The Big Lead.
Coming to you from the Carter Subaru studio and streaming on Facebook Live. Welcome. Welcome to The Big Show. I'm going to do something at 12:30 that I don't do that often. I closed out yesterday's show with today's sign, The End is Near. Mm-hmm. And I had the story about this guy who shot the sleeping lion in South Africa.
Yeah.
I watched the video again last night. Ursula, it is one of the most horrifying things. And I found an interview with this hunter. He's from Illinois. He's very proud of being a big game hunter. He has on his Facebook page pictures of him with lions and rhinoceros and giraffes.
And it's just horrifying because
this lion is just sleeping in the sun. The most majestic creature on earth, perhaps. It's sleeping in the sun, and this guy, it's a video that the guide company apparently provides for these hunters. And he fires a shot, and I don't even think we're going to post it because it's so horrifying. The lion rolls on its back and sticks its paws in the air in obvious agony, and then he fires a second and a third shot. And as they're walking up to the lion, the guide, "That's a great lion. You just took a great lion." And they're high-fiving each other.
I mean, does that even count as hunting?
No, what would count, and because I saw that Piers Morgan did a big takedown of this guy and said, "Hey, next time you encounter a sleeping lion, let's take away your gun and let you just fight one-on-one and see what happens, but you'll go running, screaming like a little baby." But after listening to the interview with this guy, where he's so proud, and people have tried to shame him before on social media, it's truly one of the most ghastly things that you'll ever see. And so I'm gonna come back to what I ended the show with yesterday. I'm gonna come back to that at 12:30 today because I don't understand big game hunters. I will never understand how somebody can put a majestic beast in their crosshairs and kill it.
And some pay such huge amounts of money to be able to do it, too.
Yeah, in South Africa, they will sell the tags to go and take these animals, and they say we use the proceeds of this for wider animal conservation efforts. But anybody who can just give them the money as a donation to conserve animals without having to shoot and kill these incredible beasts. So you'll hear from the guy who isn't at all embarrassed about what he did. We'll get to that at 12:30. But as we begin today's show, we'll just steal from Channel 4's headline because it's true. Seattle is dying. Let's get right to the big lead.
The Big Lead. Top story.
So in that piece on Channel 4 over the weekend, they talked to a lot of the drug vagrants who have taken over the streets of Seattle. And now for the first time, we're hearing from some public officials who are responding to that terrific Channel 4 piece. Now, if you did not see it, one of the guys they talked to was the drug addict named Travis, who was part of this Como 4 special.
You're a user, right? What's your drug of choice?
I use methamphetamines.
Yeah.
And I try to at least use it once a day. But I don't really consider myself a drug abuser. The shit is amazing.
You like the meth?
I love it.
34 criminal cases in 4 years. Things like assault, attempted rape, trespassing.
You're on a list, you know.
Nice.
There's a list of the 100. They came out with the 100 frequent flyers,
really?
Friendly faces.
Of everything?
Of all, the entire.
Which one am I?
Which number on the list?
Yeah.
Oh, you're up there.
Nice.
You're up there.
I was just saying, like, I've definitely been the most in Seattle. Karen. teed.
Travis, put the bike down, Travis.
This is body cam footage of an incident on First and Pike a little more than a year ago.
Travis. What's up? Travis. What's up? Hey, come on, Travis. Travis. Hey, you. Travis, put the bike down.
It started with property destruction and escalated into assaulting police officers.
Okay, now this guy, a journalist friend of mine, just alerted me a little while ago that since this Channel 4 special, Travis has been arrested 2 more times, but is still free on the streets. And so now Jenny Durkin, Channel 4, ComoNews.com, they talked to the mayor, and she said, oh, this was a very unfair portrayal of our beautiful, wonderful, utopian city.
I did see the special, and I think it's unfortunate that focused on a very limited part of Seattle. Again, I think if you went to any neighborhood in Seattle today and told the story from Alki to Seward Park to up north to Seattle Center, you're going to see a city that is thriving with people who care, that's welcoming and diverse.
Welcoming and diverse. She has to get those 2 words in to every soundbite she utters. Welcoming and diverse. They are the 2 buzzwords that Jenny Durkin is absolutely obsessed with. Thriving. She showed her earnestness right at the end of that when she really emphasized the word thriving. That's when you know she's being particularly earnest.
Up north to Seattle Center, you're going to see a city that is thriving.
Thriving. It always sounds like she's got a bug caught in her throat, but she's just showing us how sincere and earnest she is. Now, King County Council member Kathy Lambert disagrees with the mayor. She says the Channel 4 special pretty accurately reflected how things are.
I thought it was a very fair representation. It is exactly what I'm hearing from the people.
And she says when we ignore all these drug vagrants on the streets, which has become the policy, and I'm going to update you on the guy who tried to throw the woman off the overpass in just a couple of moments here. But she says we're not doing them any favors when we just let them camp out anywhere they want.
I used to work with people who are drug addicts, and I realized that compassion is not allowing them to continue like this, but actually giving them a hand up.
And Channel 4, again, they went to a big homeless encampment on Monday where hundreds of people, so big the city has to divide it into 3s when they try to clear it out. And in that encampment, they offered services to every single one of those homeless people, and only 3 said, yeah, I'll take you up on it. But the vast majority said, no, we would rather be out here on the streets using drugs, committing crimes, than accepting your offer of housing or a room for the night. And so if they will not accept help, we cannot leave them just out camping. Other cities have put the clamps down on that. And the fact that Seattle won't, the word is out. They're coming from all around the country. The guy who we told you about yesterday came here from Indiana. No job, no money. He just heard that Seattle was the place to be a homeless drug addict. And so he came out here. And so many people have come from around the country because we have flat out the worst politicians. But when you have a one-party region, and King County is a Democrat one-party region, the Democrats have allowed the ruination of our city. And, I mean, that's just an absolute factual statement. There is no other political voice in the city. And so it's on the voters who have given the Democrats this one-party power, but it certainly is on the politicians because they have, in their pursuit of developer money and all of the other things that are so corrupt about our city council. They're allowing the ruination of the city because they're pursuing other goals. This simply is not important to them. And Kathy Lambert on the King County Council said it's like they're just walking by people who are dying on the sidewalks.
If you see somebody on the street that's bleeding, you just don't walk by and say, well, when you want to stop bleeding, let me know, I'll help you. You call for help immediately. And I think from what we're seeing on the streets of Seattle today, it's time to call for help immediately.
And, you know, when the Seattle Police Department had perceived problems, the feds came in. Right now, Democrats cannot run this city. They have proven that. They have allowed the ruination of this city. They have imported the homeless from around the country. They have allowed property crime to skyrocket to where we're the worst major city in the country in that regard. You know, where are the feds? Maybe the feds need to come in like they did with the Seattle Police Department and say, look, Democrats, you have failed. You are failures. And we got to come in and clean up Seattle because you have no clue how to do it. We're spending more money on the homelessness, and developers are getting rich off of that. The homeless industrial complex is getting rich. The streets get worse and worse. Which brings me to an important update on a story we talked about yesterday on The Big Show.
The Big Lead. Update.
And this was the story of a guy named Jonathan Wilson, convicted of assault arrested for assault 4 times since September. And in the most recent one, he saw a woman on the Madison Street overpass over I-5, downtown Seattle, morning rush hour. She was just trying to get to work. And he pushed her up against the railing and said, "Do you want to go over the railing?" Now, it was 40 feet down to I-5 where rush hour traffic was traveling. So throwing her over the railing certainly would have killed her. This is a guy who had been arrested 3 times before this in just the last few months, since September. In at least 2 of the cases, it was for just punching random women in the face. So we have obtained the competency evaluation report. Our reporter, Hannah Scott, got all these documents from DSHS and from other agencies. And this dates back to 2011. The patient has a long history of mental illness, at least going back to 1998, and had been on multiple occasions, and then they redacted some of the locations. The patient had been in prison for 3 years on charges of setting fire to his case manager's car. While in prison, he had episodes of becoming highly agitated, screaming at others, and fighting. He has expressed paranoid, delusional ideas that others were trying to harm him, and attempts to control his symptoms with medication had not been very successful. He also made delusional statements such as being the son of Lucifer, that he is the devil, and was going to kill people and get guns and make other threatening statements. He had to be placed in restraints due to agitated and threatening behavior. And it goes on and on. Got dozens of pages of documents. So 3 times he gets arrested for assault, punching random women in the face. And each time he goes before the court and they say, well, he's too insane to help his defense counsel, and so we'll just let him go. So they had in documents that this guy wanted to kill other people, kill himself. They have a 72-hour involuntary hold that they can do. We're still trying to get answers as to how often they were able to implement that full 72-hour hold. The other question that we had, and I've just been handed this, we've been trying to find out for 24 hours from the prosecutor's office, why is he being charged with assault, attempted assault, when he tried to throw the woman off the overpass? Why is that not attempted murder? And here's what the prosecutor's office has just sent us in the last couple of minutes here. The filed charge is attempted assault in the first degree. That crime requires proof of intent to inflict great bodily harm. Attempted murder in the second degree would require proof of intent to actually cause death. We can consider adding that as the case proceeds. Okay, he threatened to throw a woman off a 40-foot overpass onto I-5. He grabbed her and tried to lift her over the railing until a man who was a good Samaritan who saw this came and rescued her. And the prosecutor's office is just telling us attempted murder in the second degree would require proof of intent to actually cause death. If this guy tried to throw a woman off a 40-foot overpass onto I-5, I would suggest that is intent to kill her. He knew the consequences, that if he flipped this woman off the overpass, that she would die. But we're talking about the same judicial system, prosecutorial system, justice system that has let this guy walk free 3 times previously, just in September, when he was assaulting random women. And so the beat goes on. But the problem is clear, and the remedy is equally clear. As long as we keep putting the socialist Marxists, and look, I've been telling you this for years, that this was coming. This is not an accident, and this is not the result of negligence. This is a constructed effort to destroy our region within the political process, because then the Marxists, that's their stated goal, is to have so much anarchy, to have so much turmoil, that we eventually collapse and rebuild the city in their image, which includes, the group that controls Shamaswant. They want to form a police force in their own image. But they also realize that they have to completely destroy the city from within to accomplish that goal. This is not the result of benign neglect. This is a very carefully constructed process, and it's the end result of when you put these kinds of people in office. So this is, they call themselves Democrats, they're socialist Marxists, and they're accomplishing exactly what they want to. And spreading region-wide, spreading statewide. Jay Inslee's calling for a lot of the same things that have led to these problems in Seattle. He wants them statewide. Let's get as many illegals here as possible. Let's get as many drug addicts as possible. And we've allowed it to happen. And that is your big lead for today.
The Big Lead on KIRO Radio.
We're going to check the news for you, and then an update on the story we told you about in today's sign. The lion hunter, who once again is getting worldwide condemnation, but he couldn't care less. Details straight ahead here on the Dori Monson Show.